Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zang here, and today I am bringing you Game 1 in the top 4 at the St. Louis Premier Challenge that took place a couple of weeks ago that I attended. So of course this week is a bit different because I am currently on vacation, but I still wanted to have a daily upload for you all, so I am uploading some battle videos from, Premier Challenges that I've attended lately. If you did not check out the top 8 set from the last 2 days, you're definitely going to want to watch that. I thought there were some pretty great games, and my opponent had a pretty interesting team with some unique EV spreads in Pokemon. But we are going to jump into the top 4 today. This was against Sean Ring, also known as Kiramori 2. His team, you do see the 4 Pokemon he brought into Game 1, Thundurus, Landorus, T, Sylveon, and Lopunny, and the 2 he did not bring were Talonflame and Aegislash. So that was actually a very, very scary team, especially because Lopunny is quite the cool Pokemon. I used it a bit on Road to Ranked for last week's Road to Ranked series, and it's definitely a really cool team. I thought Sean used it pretty interestingly. But if you watch the top 8 set, I felt pretty good coming out of that one. I felt like I was making good plays. There wasn't too much bad RNG. So in terms of momentum, I was definitely feeling pretty alright going into this one. However, upon looking at his team, I was a bit scared because I think Thundurus Landorus is always just such a deadly combination together, and Sylveon's also really scary to go up against. And Bisharp's normally my answer to Sylveon, but I can't really just bring it willy-nilly because the Lopunny can just knock me out with a fighting type attack, given that I don't have a Focus Sash. However, I felt like, Venusaur is really, really good in this match if it can avoid the Talonflame, so I'm going to try to want to knock out that Talonflame, and I felt like Suicune, Gengar, and Bisharp could all effectively do that relatively well. So, in the last set where I didn't bring Suicune, I felt like Suicune this time would be really good because if it could avoid the Thundurus, it would be very, very strong. So I am going to bring Suicune, Gengar, Venusaur, and Bisharp, leaving out Terrakion and Heatran. Poor Heatran not having a very good showing in these first 3 games, but without further ado, let's just jump into it. But yeah, I could tell that Sean's team was very offensive, and that was something I was not particularly fond of, just because of the number of options you have when you have such an offensive team. So he actually leads with Lopunny and Sylveon, which I'm feeling really, really good about. Gengar definitely appreciates this lead matchup, and Suicune, being as bulky as it is, can just help me set up and support right away. You'd imagine if he led with something like Thundurus and Landorus right away, things would look pretty bad. So this first turn, I'm actually just going to stay in with both my Pokemon, not going to switch out to ensure that I get at least one attack off, because I don't know who Lopunny wants to target right now. Smartly enough, it does target that Gengar, does around 50% with that Fake Out, but I do get the Tailwind up, and I know that my Gengar can probably take a Fake Out and a Hyper Voice here, but he actually goes for the Shadow Ball with Sylveon, which is a fantastic play, so immediately knocking out that Gengar, but I'm alright with that because I set up Tailwind. However, that did get rid of my one real answer to stopping the Lopunny in terms of burning it. So now Venusaur comes in, and Venusaur is one of the best Pokemon to have here. And at this point, I was assuming the Sylveon was Choice Specs just because based off how his team looked, Choice Specs makes a lot of sense. Lando T comes in here, but the Intimidate does not matter. Suicune and Venusaur are 2 of the best Pokemon I could have out against a Landorus T. So just based off board position, even though I lost my Gengar immediately, I'm 100% okay with that because momentum-wise, I think things are looking really, really good for me. So I actually ended up going for the Scald here onto the Sylveon slot, predicting it to potentially switch out. As you see, I did go for the Sludge Bomb onto Lopunny, so I felt like it was highly, highly unlikely that the Sylveon would stay in. And even a Hyper Voice, both my Pokemon could take that with ease. He actually reveals the high jump kick with that Lopunny, which is really important information for me because it means I can safely protect with following turns. And then he also reveals the double protect with both of his Pokemon this turn, so I'm just getting so much information right now in terms of what sets my opponent might be running. So I did get pretty fortunate with that Landorus switch in because that Scald now will be actually able to knock it out as he does not switch out. So I don't know, I really thought the Sylveon was specs, but even if it wasn't, like I said, I felt pretty confident with that prediction just because it's not like Hyper Voice was doing too much either ways. And I actually am able to just double target this turn and pick up knockouts on both Pokemon. Tailwind peters out, but look at how things turned out. I was down 3-4 from the first turn, suddenly pulled things around, knocked out 2 of the biggest threats. Sylveon Thundurus comes out for my opponent right now, but this Venusaur is just walling everything. And that's why Venusaur is one of my all-time favorite Pokemon in this format. Mega Venusaur, that is. So I do go for the Snarl this turn because there's no better time to Snarl than against 2 special type attackers. And I know that I could take a Thunderbolt from that Thundurus. He actually went for the Taunt, which is even better for me because now Thunderbolt's already doing less damage. Venusaur is able to outspeed the Sylveon, getting a Sludge Bomb off, so another one will be able to knock it out here. Sylveon does go for the Psyshock. I've seen Shadow Ball and Psyshock at this point, and based off how much damage it did there, I have a very strong feeling it's Choice Specs at this point. He does go for the Thunderbolt onto Venusaur. I'm okay with that. You know, I'm not going to switch out Suicune because there's no need. It's already gotten the Snarl off, so I'm just going to go for another Snarl, knowing that I still have one more Pokemon in the back. And, of course, that Pokemon is the Bisharp. And at this point, with these special attack decreases, my opponent's Pokemon really aren't doing anything. He actually does get the Paralysis onto Venusaur with the Thunderbolt, but fortunately enough, I do get the attack off. Shadow Ball does target down Sylveon and picks up the KO. So, games 3-1 in my favor. That Thundurus is at -2 special attack. Sean recognizing this is just going to end up forfeiting. So, I do feel like I ended up taking a pretty decisive victory in that first game. First of all, I was really glad Talonflame didn't come in at any point, because Venusaur was the answer to winning this match, and by him not having Talonflame, Venusaur could just wall through everything. Like, he had no way to effectively deal with Venusaur. I didn't even need to bring out the Bisharp, and then the Tailwind that first turn was really big as well. So, I felt like I ended up winning this game on merit of the first turn, like setting up Tailwind, getting a free switch into Venusaur, and then predicting the Sylveon switch out, like that dictated the momentum, and things just kind of played out from there. So I knew this would be pretty tricky because I did not think Sean would fall for the same kind of strategy in game 2, so I knew I'd have to adjust a bit, but I am at least able to take a 1-0 win in this best of 3 set against Sean, also known as Kiramori, as yeah, that's going to conclude today's video. So if you want to check out game 2, you're going to have to watch that in tomorrow's upload. But anyway, that's it for this one, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, leave a like if you did, and I shall see you tomorrow with game 2. Alright, peace.